I've got a whole lot of peppers down here. So I'm getting ready to work on dicing these up, and I'm going to freeze some and dehydrate others. I've got a lot of bell peppers. The bell peppers I'm going to dice up to freeze. Then I've got a bunch of paprika peppers. These will get dried. And then there's a ton of other peppers. I've got unripe paprika peppers. I've got jalapeno peppers. I've got fully ripened jalapenos. And so I'm going to dice these up and dehydrate these. Oh, I've also got a couple of the sweet Myra peppers. Is that what those are? Yes, sweet Myra peppers. Only have a couple of these. Those just don't produce very well. There's some random cubanelle peppers in here. So all of the rest of these peppers, other than the paprika peppers, I'm just going to dehydrate them all and make them into a end of summer chili powder. We're just going to mix them all up. Might be spicy, but I think it'll be pretty fun. But to make this process go more quickly, I'm going to use this. Believe it or not, I've owned a KitchenAid mixer for years. I have never owned an attachment for my KitchenAid. This is the first time I've taken this little cap off to use this gear shaft on the front of the mixer. I purchased this KitchenAid food processor device after seeing Rachel over at that 1870s Homestead use one of these. I had to have it, especially when I saw the mountain of peppers that she diced up using hers. I had seen her use it on other things previously and I thought it was great. I think it was like for the cabbage, but man, when I saw her do the peppers, that sold me. So I'm going to use this for the very first time. This will actually not just slice or shred, it will dice peppers. So that is super exciting. Now my bell peppers, because I'm going to be using these for recipes, I'm going to freeze these. I don't want to have the seeds in here, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the seeds, and then I'm going to use this to dice them up. I need a trash bowl. Alright, let's see how this thing works. So looking at the guide, it says, alright, so peppers are not a hard food. So this is supposed to go on number 4 speed. So we'll see how this does. diced peppers. So I gotta show you what I just found, guys. So as I was cutting peppers, I came across a mutant. Look at this thing. It's like all sorts of peppers inside a pepper. They are just solid pieces. It's so crazy. I think that this is what happens when peppers get too cold. I have noticed that all sorts of peppers. Now I've mentioned how peppers don't like cold weather. Well, for instance, check out this bell pepper. Look how squatty it is. It almost looks like a habanero, but this is a bell pepper. And I have a sweet Lesia that kind of did the same thing. Normally these are shaped like this. Very, very pointy, upside down teardrop shaped. Except this one, this one's squishy. So as temperatures get cooler, the peppers begin getting smaller and smaller and get kind of funky looking. Now I'm doing all of my bell peppers. I'm also going to go ahead and do these mild peppers, these other mild peppers like the sweet Lesia. I have just a handful of sweet Myra peppers. And so I'm just going to go ahead and mix those in with these because they're very similar to a bell pepper. They're a mild kind of sweet flavor. So I'm just going to mix all those together and freeze them up. Then all the rest of them, then I'll do the paprika peppers, and then all of the rest of them will get mixed up. This batch, I'll mix it all together and we'll just call it batch number 1 because I'm not going to know what the ratio is for the peppers. We're just going to mix them up. We are at that stage where I'm just trying to harvest as much as I can. Peppers are still going pretty strong for the time being, and so I'm just going to get as many of them as I can before the weather gets too cold, and that's all she wrote. Squeezing every last bit out of that summer garden. Alright, so I've got all of the mild peppers diced up, packaged up in freezer containers and all of that now. So I have moved on to the spicier peppers, and so I have donned the gloves for that because I wear contacts and it is not fun to make that mistake. So at this point what I'm doing is I'm just cutting the tops off of the peppers. If they're a larger pepper like this, I'm splitting them in half. I'm splitting them in half, and then I'm just grabbing this seed ball that's in there and tossing that out. For the for the smaller peppers, like the little jalapenos here, I'm just cutting the tops off. I'm not going to de-seed those. I'm just going to, oops, wrong tote. I'm just going to leave those as they are, and leave all that heat in there. Alright, so this little device right here, this is fantastic. I don't know if they even make these anymore. This one that I got was a refurbished one. I couldn't find a new one anywhere. I don't know if these have been discontinued or if I couldn't find it because it's like everything else right now that is back ordered, can't be found. Ooh! These are spicy peppers. But the amount of time this has saved me is just amazing. And look at these gorgeous, gorgeous peppers. Look at all that. So now this is going to go into my dehydrator. I'm going to spread it out on trays. And the dehydrator will be going outside. I do not dehydrate peppers indoors. So let me get my dehydrator out. Then I will don some gloves again and get this drying. Okay, I've got my dehydrator out. Ooh. I've got my screens because these are diced up pretty finely, so I want to make sure that they actually stay on the tray and not just instantly fall through. And they're going to shrink as they dry, which is going to make them even smaller. So let me kind of set these over here. We will start with a tray. And I'm going to grab some gloves because I'm not about to touch this. Okay. And I'm kind of spreading these out in a relatively single layer. They're not totally a single layer, but they're a thin layer. How's that? Oh, tell you, some of these have a little bit of heat to them. All right, there's that one. Trying to squeeze out the juice. There's a lot of very hot pepper juice down in the bottom of this bowl here. And since I'm trying to dehydrate these, I'm trying to leave all that behind. All right, I think that'll do it. Beautiful. Look at that. So pretty. Oh crud, I put that tray on the wrong way. Flip this this one over. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to grab the lid. Now I'm going to take it outside and turn it on and let it do its thing where it's away from us. Then I got to clean out my tools. Well, I was about to take the dehydrator out onto the back porch, and then I saw something out there. So I'm going to take it to the front porch instead. All right, I got most of my mess cleaned up. So now I'm going to label my freezer containers here. And I'm just going to label it as bell pepper because it's almost all bell peppers. And really there's so little of any other pepper, you're not going to notice the difference, quite frankly. And again, I just use masking tape to label stuff, jars, containers, all that good stuff. It's cheap, it's durable, and you can get it anywhere. I get a lot of questions about these freezer containers. The brand is Arrow. They are made in USA, and I find them quite often at my local farm supply stores. You can get them from Amazon, like you can get just about everything else. And they come in all different sizes. If you are freezing liquids in there, however, there is a line, there's kind of a lip right there. You don't want to fill it above that line because you want to make sure you give the liquids room to expand. Otherwise the lid could pop off, which won't be very good in the freezer. But if you're doing generally solid things like peppers, then you can go up a little bit above that line. The lids just kind of click on like any plastic lid, and then right in the middle you press it down and it pushes all the extra air out, and there's like a little click of success when it is locked into place. And I've used these containers forever. My mom, my grandmothers used containers like this when I was growing up, and it's an oldie but goodie. So now I've got to make room in my freezer. Alright, so that is it for today. Thanks for joining me here in the Homestead kitchen as I worked on all the peppers. And there's a lot more out there. There's probably a couple hundred more peppers to go. Lots and lots of little peppers. So I'm going to preserve as many as I can and enjoy them while we got them, because the days are numbered. So thanks for hanging out with me here again in the Homestead kitchen. My name is Constance from Cosmopolitan Cornbread, and I'll talk to y'all next time.